Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to another day trading recap video with Justin Low Stocks. So, sorry I've been real slack. I've just been struggling getting up in the mornings. Like, the sleep's starting to ruin me. I don't know if you know, I'm an apprentice electrician, so I'm normally up at around 5:30 in the morning, and trading here in Australia opens at 11:30. So, I'm normally getting to bed an hour before trading session, but it's just so hard to go to bed, have that hour sleep and wake back up. Like, I subconsciously turn my alarm off. I don't know how I do it, but I'll wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning. I'll be like, why didn't I get up for trading? My phone's on the floor. I must have bumped my alarm and turned it off. And then yeah, so I've just been real slack. I need to sort something out because it's just not good enough, really. Anyhow, I traded on Friday. It's the easiest day for me to trade. I don't need to worry about getting to bed and getting some sleep before work the next day, so I can stay up and I can trade. I went away this weekend, but went to Vasey with the girlfriend. Had a great time. I probably shouldn't have traded, but I think it was a mix of I hadn't traded really throughout the week. I think I traded one day, but I didn't really do much. It wasn't enough to talk about. I felt like I needed to trade, even though I was going away and I should have just been enjoying myself. And it was a bit of a remote area, so we got there and I just realised it was 10 past 11. I took all my computers and stuff and realised it was 10 past 11. I was like, oh crap, I've got to start setting up my trading setup. And I just set it all up, and it took me about 15 minutes just to get the mobile hotspots working, because we had not much reception there either. So I basically got everything up and running at 11:29. So I had a minute to sort out my game plan, and I really shouldn't have traded. Had a few drinks as well. But there are some lessons to learn nonetheless, and I just wanted to go through this main trade I did on the day. I did some other ones. They all ended up about break even, but I wanted to go through this one with you. So it didn't open up pre-market. It didn't spike pre-market, so there wasn't a big gapper. But as I'm trading, I have a big percentage gainers list sitting there, and as the stock opens up and it climbs on that list, and I noticed it, and it was climbing up my list of gainers, and it started 10%, 15%, 20%, and I was like, this is a stock to look at. By the time I looked at it, it was around where I entered it. I saw it spiking up, and it had already gone from about 220 to 250. I'm like, that's already over a 12, 13, 14% move sort of thing. And it just done it in 5-6 minutes, and they were all pretty steep candles. And I was waiting for a pullback, and because I thought it was overextended. So I shorted 500 shares at this point here, at the 255 area. Now, it was a good idea, but I didn't stick to my original plan. So I wanted the quick pullback, right? Well, it didn't go my way. I probably should have stopped out around here. I should have stopped out, but I held on, and it kept surging. Like, it stopped for a second here and then surged again with another big candle. You know what? I'm going to short it again. I'm going to add to my position. I think I shorted another 200 shares here at 269, and this was the original drop I was looking for. This pullback here. So I shorted at 269, came back down to 247. I think it came to 248. It came back down to. So I was in the profit. I had 700 shares all up, probably averaging around 260. So it would have been up about $70. But I was going for a bigger win. My big problem is I'm taking my profits too early. I'm not letting them run. I need to let them run. That's where you get the $100 to $300 days and winners in a single stock. I tend to let my losers run, which is why I'll have $100, $200 losing days. Well, I want to try to reverse that mentality and let my winners run. So that's why I didn't take my profits, but ended up biting me on the butt. So with this position again, after that, I should have stopped out at this second entry point. Once it started and surged past the previous high of the day, I should have stopped out and just taken my loss, waited for an opportunity to re-enter. I didn't, however, and I held on again. By this stage, you're talking like 700 shares, averaged around 260. and it's now up to 280. I was down about $210, $250. But then it started really getting this topping action, and I'll show you in the daily, it was starting to hit a very solid daily resistance. So that's why I chose to add here. I added another 300 shares. Now I remember my position, because after that, that's all my adding I did. I had an average position of 1,000 shares at 266. So my average position was here, 266. I'll draw a line for you. At 266. So that was my average position. I had 1,000 shares from this point. So it had topped, like I said. I was playing off the resistance line on the daily, which I'll show you in a minute. The only way I was going to stop out of this at the current time, when I just entered my last adding short, I should word that better. The last time I added onto my trade, my mentality was the only way I'm stopping out of this is if it breaks the high of the day. Other than that, I want to close it around here, where my initial exit should have been. But I saw it come down to 248 earlier on, and I was like, that's a good support line. That is what I'll take my profits at, around the 250. So that was my mentality after I added the last amount of 300 shares here. So it was coming down, and I was being patient. The missus went to bed. I was being patient. But I just wasn't patient enough. So it had come down. I was, like I said, I was down about $250. After this point here, it got down to far enough where I was up. I was up about $50. So from down 250 to up 50, not bad at all. I'll go get the door, because that's my missus, and I'll be back. So yeah, sorry about that. So I had a short of 1,000 shares at 266, and I was watching it come down, and here I was in the small profit. And then I thought, oh, well, the worst that can happen here is that it does, it sort of creates this wedge pattern, which is lower highs and lower lows, but then if it breaks that trend on the upside, it could surge and go back to higher day and possibly break it. And I was like, I'm away for the weekend, it'll wreck my weekend if I lose bad. So I did the safe option. I was like, once it broke out of this little lower part here, if it was holding down here, I would have kept holding it, but it broke back up and had some volume behind it as well. So I decided to buy it, only for bought it at 269, so it was only a $30 loss. But if I stuck with my initial plan and I held it, as you can see, I would have come into a nice profit. I would have, like I said, I would have covered at 248, so I would have been covering either here or here, and it would have been a nice, 150 US dollar gain, which is probably around 200 Australian dollars, which would have been nicer. But again, you don't always know which way the market's going to go until they go that way. So I decided to take the safer option, which was a losing trade, but it was a good recovery considering at one stage it was down a fair bit. But yeah, so good tip here is, yeah, it was good to short in here, but maybe you should wait until it downturns a little bit and it shows a sign of going down. And that's more of a risky play in general, going for the quick, the quick overextension dip down. It would have been better to wait for this point and just go with my straight up 1,000 position there rather than build into it on the way up. Because yeah, I'll show you the daily now, because I said this is a good point to go off, the 290 area. I'll show you the daily and I'll show you why it was such a good point to go off. So that was my position. The 290 area is right here. So it was a very good resistance point. It had dipped here back in April. Again, late April, it had dipped here, and then it had crashed below that. So that clearly made this $3 mark. And again, I'm pretty sure I said it in another video, the full dollar value is like $3, $5, $10, $7. Full dollar values are normally good psychological support and resistance lines as well, because when people set their stops and their profit takers, they normally set them at a nice round number. Like most people like having their television set on 10, not 11. But yeah, so that was the trade I did on Friday. Hope you learned something from it. If you have any questions, again, don't hesitate to ask them in the comments. Hopefully I get up and trade actively this week. I know we've got a Memorial Day public holiday in America, so I won't be trading tonight, but there's 4 more trading days in the week that I need to get up and capitalize on, and I hope I do that. And if I do that, you will be getting the recap videos to help you understand more about trading. So yeah, like I said, comment if you have any questions. Thanks very much for watching. Subscribe to my channel and like my videos if you enjoy them, because I'll keep shooting out more videos like this. So thanks very much for watching, and have a great night. See ya.